I never knew the statistics, suicide, like how many deaths by suicide there were, until my father's death. I started Googling everything.
One of my first questions to any audience is, how many of you know someone that's killed themselves, suicide? A bunch of people raise their hands. And I tell them to keep their hands up, and everybody looks around the room, and people are shocked at how many others are in the room.
And I was surprised to read that I think it was 2012, there was 40,000 deaths by suicide in the United States. And I thought, how is there that many people taking their lives, and yet we're not talking about it? It seems like there's not enough being done.
There are the people who, when you would run into them, who wouldn't bring it up. Still to this day, that happens on occasion.
There's a lot of shame associated with it. I think that as parents, you feel shame that your child took his life that way.
I didn't want to admit that there were things leading up to it. I wanted to sweep that under the rug.
Society has made it so that you're looked at as weird if you're depressed or if you're going through something really hard, and it's really difficult, I think, for teens to seek attention whenever they're to seek help.
Some people say, because I would think it too sometimes during his attempts, well, that's a cowardly way to go. You know, the rest of us still have to stick around and finish what we have to finish, and you just want to go now.
Kind of the first impulse is, you know, why didn't they think about their family? Why didn't they think about everyone else?
Suicide is kind of selfish. You know, you're taking yourself away from other people, and suicide doesn't stop the pain.
I just think there are a lot of things that are surrounding it that don't add up, and people don't understand it, and so we continue to just, in many ways, sort of shove it aside, even in this day and time, and it has become epidemic.
And I remember the first times I actually used the word suicide, it was almost hard to use that word. I would say he killed himself or he took his own life. I couldn't use the word just because it had a stigma attached to it, and I could clear a room if I said that we use the word suicide very quickly.
This is not a chosen thing. People don't choose to be mentally ill.
Just because someone takes their life, it doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them a weak person, because these people that do this have probably fought more than you or I probably can ever imagine.
Knowing how mentally ill people are to have to actually take their own lives, you know, it's kind of really not shameful at all. It's just kind of sad that they didn't get the help that they needed in order to back themselves off the ledge to not do it.
Everybody has a story that I would share my story with them and how I've dealt with it, both positively and negatively.
I would try to just explain to them, paint them a picture of him, and try to get them to understand that he wasn't weak, he was mentally ill.
Somebody that takes their own life, it has nothing to do with wanting to die, it's having to do with wanting to end the pain. So I want to educate a little bit on, you know, why do people die by suicide?
We need to start making this whole earth become a village where we're all aware that these things are going on with all of us. It's very common, and we need to start talking about it and giving people permission to talk about these things.